Dollar Smart 99 cents App Store. Located at 4811 Diesel Beach Way in Richmond. Telephone number 604-207-0072.
For Filipino and other products from Asia, as well as fresh fruits and vegetables, poultry, meats, and seafood, come and visit 88 Supermarket with branches at 4801 Victoria Drive and its new location at 2611 East 49th Avenue in Vancouver.
Philippine News Canada is brought to you by Rayford Media Group.
Blood screening para kay Martin Lintag, maraming dumalo.
We donated to her baby brother, so they got my bone marrow, and she was up laughing and playing. So the impact was massive.
Si Martin ay isang 30-year-old Filipino na diagnosed with mixed phenotype acute leukemia. Nakatapos siya ng BA degree sa University of British Columbia at naging isang public accountant. Mahilig si Martin sa sports, regular playing ultimate frisbee, 10-pin bowling at volleyball. Noong July 2018, siya ay na-diagnose ng leukemia. Nagsimula siya ng treatment right away, ngunit nag-develop siya ng infection which caused further complications. Noong November 2018, sinabihan si Martin na nag-relapse ang kanyang sakit at ito ay considered terminal. Sinabihan siya ng doktor na mag-seek ng palliative care o magpa-chemotherapy. Humihingi ng tulong si Martin at si Roshlyn Manse, isang 16-year-old from Winnipeg, na makahanap sila ng matching donors na makapagbigay ng stem cells upang matulungan ang kanilang sakit. Nakapanayam din ng Balitang Vancouver ang mga magulang ni Martin na nagpapasalamat ng lubos sa mga dumalo sa screening.
Saan si Martin nga?
Sa bahay siya ngayon kasi hindi siya pwede sa crowd. Kasi yung immune system niya ang baba. So, madali siyang kapitan ng mga sakit. So, as much as possible, hindi pwede siyang, ina-avoid niya yung crowd. Dahil
dito sa
Simula pa nung July, na-diagnose siya ng July 4, na tinala siya sa Vancouver General Hospital.
Anong diagnosis?
Leukemia, dalawang klase ng leukemia.
Yeah.
Acute lymphocytic leukemia, tapos yung isa acute myeloid leukemia. Na bihira itong ganito, usually isa lang, one or the other. Pero nang sumati sa katawan niya, dalawang klase ng leukemia. Kaya napakahirap gamutin. Napakahirap. Naging mas talagang complicated.
Naghanap kayo ng match niya?
Naghanap kami ng match na para pagka kasi sa ngayon, he's not in remission. Bumalik kasi yung cancer niya. He was in remission for a while. But lately, bumalik yung kanyang cancer. Kailangan ulit siyang gumaling, kailangan niya maging in remission ulit. Pagkatapos pag may nakuhang match, pwede na siyang mag-transplant. So hopefully one of the volunteers who got swabbed today will be a match. We're hoping for that, and because there have been many events like this before, wala pa rin makita. Pero hindi kami nawawala ng pag-asa na one of these days makakuha ng match, and then we have to deal with him being in remission. Yeah. Sa ngayon, dalawa ang aming dalawang kailangan mangyari, may in remission si Martin at makakuha ng match. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wala naman. Salamat at narito kayo ngayon.
Marami sa mga volunteers ay mga kaibigan at kaibigan ng mga kaibigan pa ni Martin na nagtawag sa social media na magpa-screen ng kanilang dugo. Isa sa mga volunteers si Sarah na nag-explain kung papaano gagamitin ang resulta ng screening.
What's the event?
Yeah, so right now we're doing a stem cell drive. So we're encouraging those that are 17 to 35 to become potential stem cell donors with Canadian Blood Services stem cell program. So everybody here is either a volunteer or they're signing up to become a potential donor for the purpose of donating stem cells to see if they actually match any patients right now anywhere in the world that require stem cell transplant. Then they would come forward, then they would be able to donate. So I work on behalf of Canadian Blood Services, so I help to organize it. And then there's some family members and friends of a couple patients that were or are still looking for a match.
So my name is Adrian San Juan, and I am from Calgary, Alberta. And last year, my 16-year-old sister was diagnosed with 2 rare blood diseases. So she requires a stem cell transplant.
What's her name? Sorry. What's her name?
Rochlyn Mance, and she's 16 years old. And we required a stem cell transplant to save her. So what our family did is we did 2 donor drives, one in Edmonton and one in Winnipeg. And in December, we actually found out that we found a match for her, and she's actually in the hospital right now to do her transplant. So when we were doing the drives, we wanted to do one here in Vancouver as well for my sister, but now that she has her match, we decided to do it for Martin as well. So we're hoping that by raising awareness and sharing my sister's story, by her finding a match, we can also find a match for Martin as well. So we are here with Canadian Blood Services to do a drive for Martin. So we're registering potential people to be a match for Martin here at the Croatian Cultural Center at 3250 Commercial Drive, and we will be here until 6 p.m. today, and tomorrow we will also be here from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. So we invite everyone to come and swab, and hopefully you can be a match for Martin. And if you have any other questions or concerns, you can visit matchformartin.com. So that's match4martin.com.
Ilan sa mga volunteers ang nag-explain sa mga dumalo kung ano ang proseso ng screening na dadaanan nila.
There is a match, you'll receive a phone call from there are 2 ways that your stem cells can be extracted. So the first most common way is through your blood. So there is medication that is taken for your stem cells to migrate into your bloodstream through your bone marrow. Your blood is then filtered through a machine that separates your stem cells in your blood.
They ask you to donate via blood donation sort of thing. They filter your blood, your stem cells from your blood. That happened like 90% of the time last year.
Nagkaroon ng isang bloodletting drive sa Croatian Cultural Center sa Vancouver at nanawagan ang mga kamag-anak at kaibigan ng 2 kabataan na magpa-screen ng dugo upang makahanap ng donor. Ang donor na kailangan ni Martin at Rochlyn ay dapat nasa katulad na heritage din nila, kaya't hinikayat ang mga Pilipino na dumalo sa bloodletting services.
But basically,
Beyond that,
the way that it was explained is like if you were to be a match,
we
you would
donated
have
to
to
my
be
brother
in the
this way, my bone
States to
marrow,
give your donation.
and she was up laughing and playing.
But can we make a swap
The
today
impact was
anyways? Just get me into the database. Like, that's like
It's a different database though.
Yeah,
Well,
this is
okay,
a
so
factor
here,
too.
like the thing I can think is like, why don't you say I have MSP right?
We came here because I saw a thing on Facebook, an article about it, and we figured, why not? Yeah.
What's the article about?
It was about the journey of, I don't remember his name, and how he's looking for a match, and that it's actually really difficult to find Asians. Although he's looking specifically for a Filipino, it doesn't really matter, and even though you might not match him, you can match someone else and save somebody else's life.
Yep. And our cousin Ryan had something similar where he needed some
transplant as well.
So we're just helping out, paying it forward.
You're from Vancouver?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's your phone number?
778.
Ang screening ay ginawa sa pamamagitan ng Blood Services Canada. Kung nais ninyong magpa-screen kung kayo ay matching donor ni Martin or Rochlyn, tumawag lamang or mag-email sa Blood Services Canada. Ang blood donation din ay ine-encourage upang makatulong tayo sa mga maraming Canadians na nangangailangan ng dugo.
Dollar Smart 99 cents App Store, located at 4811 Diesel Beach Way in Richmond. Telephone number 604-207-0072.
For Filipino and other products from Asia, as well as fresh fruits and vegetables, poultry, meats, and seafood, Come and visit 88 Supermarket with branches at 4801 Victoria Drive and its new location at 2611 East 49th Avenue in Vancouver. Panukala ng ICBC tungkol sa mga kaso inilabas. Naglabas ng panibagong mga panukala ang ICBC tungkol sa pag-handle ng mga cases ngayong 2019, ngunit lalong nagpalabo ito sa sitwasyon ng mga nasa kalagitnaan na ng kanilang mga claims. Nakapanayam ng PNC Balitang Vancouver si Attorney Chris Dyson at nagbigay ito ng paliwanag tungkol sa mga kaso. Ayon sa kanya, layunin ng gobyerno na mabawasan ang gastos ng ICBC dahil sa mga financial problems nito, ngunit ang mga bagong panukala ay lalong makakabigat sa budget ng insurance company. Ayon kay Attorney Dyson, imbes na masettle ang kaso, inaabiso ng ICBC na dalhin sa korte ang mga ito at sadyang binababaan nila di umano ang counteroffer upang mahatid sa korte ang mga kaso. Sinabi din ni Attorney Dyson na hindi makakatipid ang ICBC sa panukalang ito. Tatagal ang mga kaso at hindi mababayaran ang mga claimant agad-agad dahil sa kagustuhang makatipid ng ICBC. Sa kinalayunan, ayon kay Attorney Dyson, mas malaki pa ang gastos ng ICBC dahil siguradong mananalo di umano ang mga kaso at babayaran pa ito ng mga lawyers' fees and cost kahit gaano ito katagal inabot.
Okay, so the question is, what has the government, the NDP government, been doing since their announcement in December to reduce legal costs of ICBC?
Yes, and in December they were talking about how legal costs, as they related to ICBC injury cases, were out of control. And that was the reason, one of the big reasons we were given for why ICBC was in such alleged financial trouble. It was all over the news. The Attorney General, David Eby, made a big issue that we have to get our legal costs under control. Therefore, we have to make these changes. Lawyers are responsible for driving this up. It's terrible. We have to do something. This was in December last year. So fast forward just 4 weeks, a month later. Now, ICBC, under the direction of our elected officials, this NDP government, now they're actually taking steps that are doing the opposite. They're actually driving up legal costs.
How so? How do they drive up legal costs with what was supposedly the original plan of bringing it down?
Yeah, well now what's happening is that across the province, hundreds if not thousands of offers have been canceled or rescinded or retracted, or you have mediations, and mediation is a process where people, the ICBC and the injured victim, get together and try and resolve their claim in a cost-effective manner outside of a courtroom without the expense of a trial or having to get a lot of experts or pay legal fees. A lot of these mediations have become derailed as a result of this policy change on existing claims.
And what is the policy which was supposed to be in place?
Yeah, well, I haven't read the details of the policy, but we're getting bits and pieces of it. And the policy is that unless you have a certain disability period, from what I understand, that you've missed a certain amount of work, you're only going to get a certain amount of money at an arbitrarily low level, lower than what you would get if you'd gone to trial. So basically what they're trying to do is force more cases to trial.
I see. So instead of settling out of court, they'd like to go for cases on trial, which will actually drive up the legal costs.
That's what their actions are indicating. I had a colleague the other day, they were explaining about what happened at a mediation. The day before the mediation, ICBC was offering $40,000. The injured victim would have been happy at $50,000. So there was a great hope that perhaps the two sides could meet in the middle at $45,000, save the system a huge amount of money, get the injured victim her fair compensation, and ICBC could save costs by closing the file. And that didn't happen. What happened instead was, on the day of the mediation, they said, we're canceling that $40,000 offer, replacing it with a $30,000 offer, and if you don't like it, go to trial. And of course, the trial is going to take longer, and it's going to be more expensive.
Right.
And in all likelihood, that injured victim is going to get more at trial. And this is from an organization controlled by a government that just a month ago was complaining about legal costs, the costs of a Supreme Court trial. And yet they're taking action to drive more cases, not less, to trial. So there's a definite contradiction between what the government says and what they're doing with regard to ICBC.
Ang mga sinabi ni Attorney Dyson ay sang-ayon din sa mga sinabi ni Attorney Joe Murphy, isa ring injury lawyer sa BC, sa kanyang interview sa Global News.
Well, Sonia, what ICBC said is from now on, we're going to pay less to settle injury claims. If we have an offer, and one of the offers in my office was for $50,000, they pulled that offer and said, no, we're only going to pay you $30,000, and if you don't want that, go to court. So I've been practicing for over 40 years, and I've known ICBC since it was born till now. And they periodically bring in policies, and I always think to myself, okay, what's the purpose of this? Because this new policy is going to clog up the courts. It's going to force people to trial that wouldn't otherwise go, and when that happens, the costs to ICBC are hugely increased, and that's then passed on to the people who pay premiums.
So what is now the next step for people who are currently have a case?
Yeah, and this is another issue too, because we were told that the changes, the drastic changes, specifically the minor injury caps, wouldn't come into effect until April 1st, 2019, this year, and that existing claims would be grandfathered under the old laws. And while it's true, they are grandfathered under the existing laws, the handling policy has suddenly changed in the last couple of weeks. And it's been changed in a way where it's going to be harder to settle. There may be exceptions to that if you've had a lengthy disability period that you missed a lot of work. They might still view that in a manner somewhat to how they were before the last few weeks. So we'll see how that rolls. But the difficult cases are going to be the ones where people have a serious injury, but they didn't miss any work.
Okay.
For instance, I had a gentleman, he's going to need neurosurgery as a result of the car accidents, neck surgery in other words. He's also heavy-duty mechanic, physical job, but because he's been just such a hard-working, vigilant person, he forced himself to go back to work earlier than what the doctors had recommended because he has to support his family. He wanted to work through this injury, so he didn't take any time off work despite this need for surgery, which will entail time off work in the future. He's getting the harsh treatment. We had a mediation scheduled for this week, and we were told by the adjuster, who's actually quite an upfront, fair individual, just doing her job, that you guys probably don't want to go to this mediation because it's not going to settle. Whereas last year it would have settled.
I see.
And this came just after the announcement and the word on the street that more of these cases are going to be taken to trial. So that is a case that very likely will go to trial or get very close to trial.
Right.
Because there's no time off work yet. It's a serious injury, and ICBC won't be paying what they would have, what they should be paying according to court precedents, what judges are awarding.
So going to trial means more money, more time, more effort, and which doesn't really solve the problems of ICBC in terms of expenses.
In fact, it'll make it worse for them because now they've decided to do this. But keep in mind that this is their own internal policies. I had a colleague, another lawyer friend of mine, she went to trial this week. They weren't very far apart. She had indicated that her client would have been willing to settle, I think it was for $50,000. Again, $47,000 actually is what it was, and the ICBC offer was $40,000. So they were only $7,000 apart. And I would have thought that two lawyers on both sides, ICBC having so much experience adjusting claims, could have reached, again, a compromise in the middle, which would save everybody a ton of money. But ICBC pulled the $40,000 offer, replaced it with a $30,000 offer, and my colleague and her poor client had no choice but to go to court. This was last week. I believe it was a 3-day trial. And the judge awarded close to $90,000, much more than what the injured victim was actually asking for. And ICBC had to pay all of the costs for that trial to the victim, and they could have avoided that just by being reasonable. And again,
so it doesn't really give them a solution as to saving money.
No, and unfortunately, this goes against what the government was saying just a month ago, that legal costs are out of control. So why now would they be driving up legal costs?
Okay.
I think that's a question you need to ask. You have to ask the government officials, especially the Attorney General, why are they doing this? So what ultimately really is the solution to ICBC's issues? We need to bring down the accident rates. Accident rates in BC are actually climbing at 2 to 3 times the population growth rate, and that's driving a lot of the costs for ICBC. You know, if accident rates came down, you wouldn't need as many lawyers, you wouldn't need as many ambulance drivers or adjusters or court hearings. That would save a huge amount of money. So we need to crack down harder on drivers who are distracted and who drink and drive, because some of the worst accidents still are from drinking and driving. We really need to deal with that, and I don't feel the government's done enough on that. They've done some small steps, but they're really baby steps. They have to really root out drinking and driving and take a hard line on distracted driving.
Well, there's another, there's another form of impaired driving too now with the legalization of marijuana as well.
That doesn't help. That doesn't help. I mean, it's great for my business. That's wonderful, but it's not nice to people who are injured by these drivers on the road, impaired or by alcohol or drugs. It's not good at all, because that's a lot of human suffering, not to mention cost to the system. And ultimately, that's what this government should be doing, as opposed to doing the opposite, driving up legal costs.
Bisdak Christian Society nag-celebrate ng Santo Niño Festival. Nag-celebrate ang Bisdak Christian Society ng kanilang Santo Niño Festival sa St. Patrick's Gym kamakailan lang. Nagbigay ng brief overview ng Sinulog Festival ang mga MCs na sina Pete Misa at Brett Hernando, habang nagbigay naman ng welcome address si Bisdak President Cosette Lawas. Ang Santo Niño Festival ng Bisdak ay nagkaroon din ng special offering mula sa iba't ibang talented singers nila, kabilang sina Diana Serino, Francine and Diane Basiga, Phoebe Jacobson, at ang Bisdak Boys na nagbigay ng isang Cebuano song extravaganza. Nagbigay naman ng special prize ang Suki Bath Motors through its sales and finance consultant Raymond Lacson. Ang Bisdak dancers naman ay nag-alay ng Sinulog Dance sa tunang Batubalani na inawit ni Diane Basiga. Ang final act ng program ang pag-awit ng Where is the Love at Daghang Salamat Senyor Santo Niño ng Bisdak Teens and Bisdak members. Nag-closing remarks naman ang Vice President ng Bisdak na si Lourdes Serino. Nag-anyaya ang buong member ng Bisdak para sa kanilang selebrasyon sa susunod na taon.
Smart 99 cents App Store, located at 4811 Diesel Beach Way in Richmond. Telephone number 604-207-0072.
For Filipino and other products from Asia, as well as fresh fruits and vegetables, poultry, meats, and seafood, come and visit 88 Supermarket with branches at 4801 Victoria Drive and its new location at 2611 East 49th Avenue in Vancouver.